That's right, Chad, I've got a hard hat on. You guys are talking Hollywood and movie premieres. I am at a construction site. I'm Stephen Heumann, and I'm on Highway 14 right outside of Cedar City, where there has been a landslide just a couple of months ago that has closed off this road. And a lot of people from out of town are thinking, well, if the road's closed, then why go to Cedar City? You can't go up on top of the mountain and all the recreation is closed off. Well, I am here right now to disprove that notion.
On the opening day of deer season 2011, hunters driving over the top of Highway 14 between Cedar City and Duck Creek Village found their way blocked by one of the largest landslides in recent memory.
We displaced over a third mile of roadway up the canyon, slid it down towards the bottom. We've effectually got the entire roadway completely cut off, don't have a way to get up and over it, so we've got to reconstruct it.
For Maria Twitchell, Executive Director of Tourism for Cedar City and Bryan Head, the slide meant that access to the prime snowmobile areas of Duck Creek and many national parks would be made far more difficult during the winter and spring of 2012. Lucky for her, though, there is plenty of adventure still in Festival City to keep tourists and locals running from one exploit to the other.
Well, Cedar City really is the perfect destination. It's smack dab in the middle of everything. You can go any direction and you're going to discover something new. The undiscovered gems as well as the well-known national parks. But yet it's still a full-service community and you can still access the mountain. You can take National Scenic Byway 143 through Parwan up to Bryan Head. You can get into the snowmobiling easy. You can also enjoy the skiing and the cross-country skiing.
Maria actually acted as my guide today, taking me from one extreme to the next. We started at Hidden Haven, a hike off of Highway 143 that leads to a waterfall in the spring. Well, being as how it isn't spring yet, we actually trudged through the snow, but luckily temperatures were warm enough for us to hike comfortably, but still cold enough. After about a half mile, we stumbled on a real treat.
You see a frozen waterfall at the end, but there's also a weeping rock. A lot of people who like to ice climb that frozen waterfall. We also went out to the Parwan Gap, which is it's known for two things. It's on the National Historic Register. It's a wind gap, but it's also the home of a plethora of Native American rock art, over several thousands of years old.
Hiking is only one aspect of winter in Cedar City. You can, of course, still snowmobile in Duck Creek by detouring the landslide. But if you're looking for something a bit closer to town and slightly more rocky, Three Peaks is for you.
The Three Peaks recreation area is just directly west of Cedar City. It's specifically developed for recreations, particularly horseback riding and ATVing. There's areas where you can just unload and park, and then you're off to miles and miles of just great trails.
Many people see the landslide as a huge problem, making recreation and sightseeing just that much more difficult. For me, it's actually the opposite. The slide forced me to look at this area in a new way and find alternatives that otherwise I would have missed out on. Of the hundreds of times I've driven along Interstate 15 and stopped in Cedar, I thought I knew everything. But sometimes it takes a little detour to point you in the right direction and see things you never knew you were missing. And for me, Kolob Canyon was a big one.
This is Kolob Canyons. It's a part of Zion National Park. It's actually right off Interstate 15, but you don't see it from the road. I think people just pass it by and not think about it, but you just take that exit 40, it takes you right into Kolob Canyons. It's this beautiful 6-mile drive into what they call the Finger Canyons. There's 5 canyons and there's several viewpoints.
And don't worry, for those of you waiting for an open road, Highway 14 is projected to be cleared sometime in early summer.
If people will just go to udot.utah.gov, they'll be able to jump on and get updates on the slide and how we're coming with the progress.
Yeah, we hope that even though there's a landslide, that people will see the beauty of staying in Cedar City and going out and experiencing all the recreation and things to do, within our area.
Well, there you have it. The road is closed, but the adventure is not. From Cedar City, Utah, I'm Stephen Heumann. Now back to Chad and Rhea at the John Carter premiere.